dream.
The 2016 Jared Cook Tip-Off Classic on SUVtv. Sponsored by CBA Sports, your sports construction specialist. Deed Chain. Great acts are made up of small deeds. Shot Tracker. Unleash your game, automatic real-time stats for every level of play. And Gatorade, the thirst quencher.
And welcome back to the Jared Cook Classic here at North Gwinnett High School, Sewanee, Georgia. I'm Marcus Burnett. Pleasure of being joined by Jasmine Jenkins here courtside as we are about ready to tip off the game before the last game at day one of the Jared Cook Classic. As I mentioned, I'm Marcus Burnett. Jasmine, a former East Hall graduate, former Vanderbilt Lady Commodore. Glad to have you on the mic here today. It's been a good day of basketball. Thanks for joining us as we get ready to see these two Gwinnett area teams go at it.
Thank you for having me, Marcus. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see what the Jared Cook Classic has in store.
A lot of red in the seats. A lot of that is due to the host Bulldogs about to take the floor. Some of it is due to the Gainesville game that will be up next. It'll be the nightcap as the Red Elephants will take on Langston U. So that'll be a good one, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a very good matchup with two well-coached teams in North Gwinnett and Dacula. We'll tip it off. It'll be number 44, Jaden Brown and Mikey Joseph. They tipped it off, and we are off to the races. Dacula with the first possession. Can't get it to go, and this is a North Gwinnett Bulldogs team that took some lumps last year. They lost some to graduation, and we're in the process of undergoing that transition. So they took some lumps, but you got a good-sized team this year, well-coached, that I think is looking to deliver a few lumps this year, Jasmine.
I agree. The Bulldogs opened up with a nice set, get a back screen. Let's see if we can make it free throws. First one's good by number 21, Mikey Joseph.
And some good size at Coach Gardner's disposal there when you look at Joseph, as well as number 5, Ethan Smith, and then the big fella, number 15, Brandon Maffey. I was talking to those guys at Gwinnett County Media Day, and somehow the question of the topic of interior presence came up, and it's almost like Maffey was chomping at the bit. Looked at the big fella and said, I think you're going to have something to do with that interior presence this year, huh? He said, of course. A nice size there is Matthews. You see him box out on that play. Rebound brought down by Cameron Rowland.
Yeah, I think as the game gets into it, Dacula better watch out for Ethan Smith, number 5 for North Gwinnett. He was shooting jumpers out here in front of the table during warm-up, so I'm excited to see what he's able to do.
You talk about Ethan Smith shooting jumpers. It's always fun to see players sort of wait their turn and put work in the interim. Smith was one of those players, even when he was at the JV level, long before he was a member of the varsity team or a varsity starter, he would always be here before past Jared Cook Classics getting shots up, hours beforehand. So I think he's ready to be here and be in this moment, being a starter at this annual event here for North Gwinnett.
I agree. You just have to wait your turn sometimes.
So Dacula has it now. As it is a great event. You know it's a good basketball event in the Atlanta area, and specifically a North Gwinnett basketball event in the area. When the man with the plan, Brandon Clay, is on site. So I got a lot of basketball prowess around me, given your accolades in the basketball world, and the man sitting to the right of me. Brandon, thanks for joining us here on the mic, man.
What's up? It's good to be here. Good to be home here at the alma mater, man. See what this matchup looks like tonight.
Lots of action here. Had some alumni games and festivities going here all day. Now Coach Garner, less focused about the pickup he played earlier today and more focused on his team getting a win. That jumper off the mark. Rebound met inside by Matthew. How are you liking the pace so far, Jasmine, in terms of what you're seeing from both teams?
You I think both teams, both Dacula and North Gwinnett, came out really quickly, getting up and down the floor. I think it's a good sign that we've seen both teams go to the free throw line at least once within the last 30 seconds. That means they're going to be aggressive. So I think we have a good game in front of us.
You know, Brandon, when you talk Gwinnett basketball, both on the boys and girls side, a lot of good teams and players that have come through. And in this instance, where even if you don't have teams that are headliners per se in their regions or the city, talk about the type of game and coaching that you get when it comes to Gwinnett.
Well, I mean, you look at guys who have been responsible for coaching, you know, Kevon Tucker and, you know, Obuka, who was in there playing pickup earlier with us, and just, you know, the whole atmosphere around both North Gwinnett and Dacula. College-level players here for years. You look at a Kobe Leafson, who's at BYU, already getting ticked here, who was just on this floor last year. Mike Haver's doing big things at the college level. So a lot of experience on the sideline, both playing and coaching, in terms of people who are leading these ships in these programs.
Cameron Rowland knocked down a triple. It's followed up by a Brandon Maffey jumper, and it's a 9-1 advantage. Nice look, but no connection on the behind-the-back pass, and we're going to have a jump ball called there. Looked like it was going to be a foul on somebody, but instead they called the jump ball. Close enough. You got Matt Gardner roaming the sideline for North Gwinnett. And then head coach Russell Triaga.
The doctor. The good doctor. Well, then you look at the difference in Russ's team this year and last year. Obviously, no Tucker. You know, so some of the growing pains that North Gwinnett went through last year, and you see a lot of familiar faces right now. Ethan Smith there in the post. You've got, you know, Brandon on the other side. Mikey, you've got a lot of guys that I remember from last year where Dacula doesn't have that. All these guys, Mikael Bethea being a great example there with the finish, playing different roles on this year's team than they did last year with a 25-point-a-night type guy in Tucker.
9-3 ball game. As Bethea has been active early on, going to be the straw that stirs the drink for the majority of the season here for Dacula. Smith gets it down low and using some of that size that we talked about.
Great footwork. He walked into the locker room today. I was here a little bit earlier and spoke with Coach Garner and some of the team, and he walked into the locker room, and I was like, man, you've grown a couple of inches. You were already long. He said, yeah, I've gained about 15 pounds too, man. So just wanted to point it out. Yeah. He's been in that weight room, and that was a great example right there.
Hey, they have Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits in our cafeteria too, and I get quite a few in, Chief. Substitutions coming in, number 23 for Dacula. No 23 on the roster, so we'll make sure we make that adjustment at the scores table during our next break. Too strong on the shot, but cleaning up what he messed up there is number 11, Gary Bishop. Gets the lay-in. They'll try to work it inside. Joseph can't get the shot to go, tipped around, and now Smith looking to kick it back out. Ball loose, Rowland picks up the pieces, short on the reverse. And Jasmine, we talked about some of the transitions from some of the players that are here on the floor. Talk about back in your high school days, some of the transitions that you remember either personally or with some of the players you played with or against in terms of stepping in the new roles after graduation and just the things that happen with every season.
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for transitions in terms of high school goals, but I know my transition between high school and college was a huge deal because, you know, role management, specialization. I never even knew those terms before I got to Vanderbilt.
Playing there at the D1 level of a lot of different things that you learn. I mean, it's can't be at the right place if you're not learning things at that level.
Well, and I thought it was interesting, honestly, Jazz, to touch on what you just said, to watch her transition from afar. You know, it's kind of an innocent bystander with some stake in the game, and to see the progress that she made over the course of the 4 years. And, you know, I think in tonight's game, you talk about a kid like Bethea making that transition now as a sophomore. Ethan Smith becoming more of a primary scorer this year with Kobe Leafson gone. So multiple guys in this game will have to make those types of transitions. And even in the nightcap, Gainesville looking ahead at a guy like Bailey Minor, who's going to have to step up his scoring with DeMarcus Simons going to Georgia State now.
DeMarcus Simons, for those that have been following us on Twitter and the Jay Cook Classic, they've seen that image of him skying up to punish someone at the rim here over the past few weeks. But just one example of the talent that has come through the doors here at the Jared Cook Classic over the past few years. Joseph kicks it out to Rowland. Rowland Finds number 10 in the corner. Second time could be a charm as he knocks down his second three-point attempt. That's number 10, Chandler Johnston, the sophomore. Grade level the same as his number. He makes it 14-10. Here's Bethea, mid-range J, splash.
The kid can really score it. He's a player. Came to Elite Basketball Academy All-American camp last year and really produced at a high level, even as an underclassman at that point, was still just a freshman, hadn't even played a high school game when he walked in the door for camp, and left a big-time impression on our staff, most notably Jonathan Hemingway.
As they say, the mid-range is a lost art. We've seen 2 straight mid-range pull-ups there by Dacula. What are your thoughts on the state of the mid-range in the game?
You know, the mid-range is lost. And I blame Steph Curry for that. I blame
All right, Mark Jackson.
I blame Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Those guys just make it look so easy. And a lot of kids think that it is easy. But what they don't realize is that the thousands of shots they put up before game time. You know what I'm saying? So I would be interested to see what one of Steph's summers looks like in terms of getting shots up.
Reggie Horton came up with the steal, but they couldn't get it to go there on the flush.
That's just one of those plays, man. Ralph Nunn's in the building tonight, our old high school coach here at North Gwinnett. And if you weren't dunking 9 out of 10 times on somebody's head, you weren't dunking in the game or you were sitting down. You've got to convert baskets. I tell kids at camp all the time, all that stuff looks really great until you don't get any points. The most important thing is the basket itself, not necessarily how you get there. And I think that's a classic case, and you see the young fella going to the bench.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it looked like Dr. Russell Triaga is of that same school of thought my high school coach George Green was. You take that dunk, you better make it, Chief, or else we're going to spend a little quality time here, at least for the next couple minutes.
I know on some level it's that Will Ferrell, man, call it old school, but you've got to convert those easy transition buckets, especially in a tight game like this. You're going to need every point you can get as the game continues to whittle down. North Gwinnett's just as well coached as you are. You've got to find some ways to be productive and to get buckets.
And no star treatment there. You know, Dr. Triaga saying that, you know, when you look at Kevon Tucker and some of the talented players that have graduated there in this past class, he says Mikael Bethea is further ahead than any of them were as a sophomore. So, you know, the sky's the limit in terms of his potential, but at the end of the day, no star treatment there from Coach.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely.
So we take a look at our assistant basketball coach replay there on that last bucket. Scored there by number 11. That's Gary Bishop.
As we have Taylor Goodson right here on the line, makes his first free throw. What I liked about what he just did is that he took a 3, missed it, right? Got the rebound, and then went to the rim. And I think that's what a lot of kids don't understand nowadays. It's just, you know, sometimes you have to get to the rim in order to get your rhythm.
So he helped get his there with that second free throw being knocked down. He'll be replaced by number 23. That's Jaden Bost.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I think this goes back to the transition period we talked about, Marcus, and I think that's a great point, Jazz. So much of those types of plays, when those are coached, you know, those come during live action, those come during film breakdown, film review. So until you've had that film breakdown or film review, you haven't had that moment, you know, where you've been corrected, where you've been coached. Hey, listen, taking these 3 three-pointers in a row is not what we want to do. We want to miss the first one, fine, go collect the rebound, and then try to get us something easy at the rim.
So Mikael Bethea, the point was made by Coach. Got him back in there, and now it's back to work.
And I like what, you know, Coach did there. He didn't let Bethea sit for 5 minutes trying to prove a point. Quick sub, all right, man, we got to work with something. We got to get it. And then Bethea comes back, mid-range, right on cue, basket.
That boy says lost. not in my household. We'll be back with more Jared Cook action here on SUVtv.
Every day is another beginning. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream.
I got a high ankle sprain going for a rebound.
Injuries are part of playing.
I got hit catching a pass and broke my collarbone.
So it's good to know that the sports medicine doctors, therapists, and athletic trainers at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta are experts at treating young athletes. If your child suffers any kind of sports-related injury,
I got hit and dislocated my shoulder.
bring him to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Zach Smith was out here playing like a scholarship. And welcome back to the Jared Cook Classic.
You're absolutely right, man. Zach Smith was going really hard. So was Coach Garner. I wish we had broadcasted that. That's what should have been on TV.
And you've heard the cliches and the thoughts that tradition and pride, like that type of stuff never dies. And I think that was reflected with some of those games earlier, and I respect it. I respect it. We're going to lace them up. Let's play.
You got to play to win.
Yes, sir. At the free throw line, another trip for Dacula. This will be Arusa Hunter at the line. 4-point lead for the Falcons.
That's a good-looking shot mechanically. You watch it. Good frame, strong through his shoulders. Wrist was down there on the snap. Doesn't get much cleaner than that. See if he can do it again.
We had the topic of mid-range jumpers, as we've seen a few from Mikael Bethea, and there's no way you can mention mid-range in Dacula without talking about Kevon Tucker. He was one of the best mid-range shooters, if not the best in the state, prior to going up to Wofford for his freshman year. And Dr. Triaga was a very key part of that. You know, Tucker talks about specifically Triaga saying if you want to play at the D1 level, that's a part of your game you're going to have.
Well, especially for a guy like Tucker who was, air quote, an undersized, wing in terms of prototypical height. Even though he could score the basketball, if there was a knock or area to improve on his game, it was going to be scoring at all three levels, and he showed that he could do that. And now they're grooming, Bethea and these other guys to take the place and the production of Tucker.
That shot missed on the inside there by Jaden Brown. They get it ahead to Rowland, and Hunter making sure that there was no potential for a three-point play there. Good foul will set him to the line.
Yeah, I like that play both ways there, Marcus. When they pitch to the head, great defensive play, not to give up the layup, but a great play by Rowland to get, as you're going to see, get the basketball, get up, take the harm, try to get it, but we teach defenders, don't let them get the shot off. If you're going to commit the foul, do not let them get the shot off, but also don't get called for the intentional all at once. That's a tough thing to execute, and they did it.
As Langston Hughes walks in, they'll take in Gainesville here in the nightcap. Jazz, you're Hall County based, but you've played against and with a lot of players in Gwinnett County. What's your outside looking in view of Gwinnett and what it's brought to the table talent-wise and what it currently brings to the table?
Well, I can only speak for the women's side. I mean, Gwinnett County was so loaded coming out of high school. I mean, you had Kayla Davis, Lexi Brown, who is now at Duke University. I mean, there's so many names that I can throw out of there. Based in Gwinnett County itself. And I just think it's such a bed for solid basketball players, both on the men and women's side.
On the tag, that I actually spoke with Brown and Davis this week. Both are playing well. Davis with a 37-point, 10-rebound game there to start the season off. Brown getting busy at Duke, a couple 20-point games here earlier this week. And one of the things that they've always talked about, and I think that Jazz can attest to, is the level of competition at a young age. From the ages of 12 to 15, every week you're playing against somebody who can play, whether it's a GBL league, whether it's an 8th grade game, and any number of things. And you're seeing that even out here on the floor. I know you talked about, obviously, Marcus, the varying levels of talent, but a kid like Bethea, who's already got an offer from North Florida, well, he's been playing against high-level guys now for 2-3 years. He's been coming to individual camps like On the Radar Hoops with Sean Williams, who's in the building tonight, Elite Basketball Academy camps. So many different vehicles for these players, boys and girls, to get quality instruction and quality competition on a weekly basis.
I agree. There's no way to get better unless you play against people that are better than you, so you know what to aspire for. Iron sharpens iron.
A lot of that going around here in this area and this state. That shot in and out. Mikey Joseph went to the line a few possessions ago for North Gwinnett as they try to get more activity going at the stripe. Dacula has done a good job so far. Rowland stepping into that three. That one too strong. Follows his own shot. Risky pass. And they're going to say last touched. Thought it went off the hands of Smith. We'll have a timeout there for Dr. Triaga, and we'll keep it right here.
Well, it looked like on the Rowland play there, we call those first pass threes. I'm not a big advocate of first pass threes. You want to move the basketball or get a clean look. If Smith had caught that in the corner cleanly, that's a good time to shoot the three. Tough to shoot a first pass three, especially in transition off rhythm. Again, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson make it look easy. That's not an easy shot, and quite honestly, even for a guy who can score it the way that Roland can, that's a low percentage shot as well. So I'm sure that Coach Garner is going to continue to implore, hey, let's feed the post. We scored it earlier. Even with Ethan Smith, who's a guard, we were able to get a couple of buckets around the rim. We were able to get Brandon Moffitt the ball, get him to the free throw line. Mikey Joseph is strong. And that's really where their advantage is in the matchups tonight against Dacula, is taking the ball on the interior, making plays, and making things happen from there.
We resume play from the timeout. Smith looking inside for Joseph. Relatively speaking, mouse in the house.
Tough
Help
move.
comes too late.
That's where the advantage is.
Tough move.
On the floor for North Gwinnett, Joseph, Smith, Roland.
Oh, that's
Josh
tough.
Downs in, and that one's knocked down by Gary Bishop.
Boy, hand right in Bishop's face. No problem.
Makes it a 5-point contest. We approach the 5-minute mark until halftime. Pass was telegraphed, active hands, getting the steal. Give me that, says Mikey Joseph as he channels his inner Cameron Calhoun and smacks that one against the glass, but Dacula following up Gary Bishop. How many times did we see Cameron Calhoun block a shot off the glass?
Like 30 last year. It was awesome. I could still see the picture in my head. Great pass on the back door.
Couldn't get the outcome that they wanted. Everything else was on point. Bishop over to Hunter. They'll slow it down.
And again, North is at their best when if they can play on the inside and then work back out. I know they missed the layup, but those are the types of shots, if you're Matt Garner, when you came out, that you want these shots. You're going to watch this chase. Game 7 change of speed. LeBron James on him.
Give me that. 5 minutes, 11 seconds at the free throw line. Arusa Hunter, always good to touch base.
I love it, man. The annual tradition. It's good to see you, Doctor.
Number 12,
19-27 as Dacula is threatening to push this advantage to double digits.
It's funny. Russ is one of my favorite coaches in the area, man. Every time he sees me on the SUV broadcast, hey, what kind of socks you got on? Sometimes I have on bright socks. Sometimes I have on regular socks. Tonight I went with that Andy Landers Georgia look, loafers with no socks, man.
Man, I miss Andy Landers.
Hey, he's doing a great job on television. His voice needs to be heard by many.
Smith misses the shot, but they get the offensive rebound. Tyler Goodson with it for North Gwinnett.
It's a good time for Roland to get it and get them into something here.
Being guarded by Bethea. Here's Smith. Not a lot of space. Both he and Joseph right there in the same vicinity.
Tough
now Smith
move.
will go to work.
Tough move.
Do I need to say it again?
Matchup
Why
problem.
not? I mean, it's not redundant. It's just
Well,
calling
and
a
I
spade a
thought that
spade.
was fantastic right there. Let me point out what Ethan Smith did. Saw what he had, called for the basketball, put himself in a position to catch it, and then was patient. Let Joseph clear out to the wing. You talked about the lack of space. Joseph cleared out, stressed it just enough. And then the great footwork there to make the play. Little show, turn back to the baseline, and then the score.
Pulls North Gwinnett to within 6. Smith wants it again inside. They'll go cross court to Joseph.
North Gwinnett has a 4-out, 1 in, trying to get Ethan Smith the ball again because he has a matchup problem. And they turn it over.
The tough part when you start to isolate a kid like Smith on the interior for multiple possessions is some of the technique gets lost. They threw a skip. Normally, if you're dealing with an interior player, they flash to the other side, and that's where you get it, right? You get the duck in on the other side. Smith doesn't have that in his repertoire. If he doesn't get it first side, there isn't the movement to bring the defense across the lane with him. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to make that adjustment on the fly at halftime to get Smith to flash across and get the basketball there.
Rusa Hunter knocked down the jumper. He's trying to get back-to-back Jays. Can't get that one to go, but we'll just chalk that one up as a pass. Received and laid in by Jalen Perry. Coach Garner going to get a timeout as we've got an 11-point gap being faced by North Gwinnett.
Dacula's done a fantastic job, not only of making outside shots, but being around the rim, getting offensive rebounds. They've gotten to the free throw line, so very different than how North Gwinnett needs to score. Dacula's done a great job of creating their own offense inside of this game and without using the dribble breakdown to do it.
3 minutes, 22 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Appreciate you joining us here for day one of the Jared Cook Classic. We've got 3 games out of the way. It was Heritage getting a victory over Brookwood in the opening game, followed up by the Sandy Creek Patriots. Those are 2 Patriots that got wins there. Sandy Creek defeated Peachtree Ridge. The game before this one saw Lee Huntsville drop one to Shiloh, who's off to a good start this season. They came to 1-1 after an opening loss to Green Forest, and here we are, North Gwinnett and Dacula in progress. Nothing wrong with a little Casper slide here courtside as DJ Webb continues to keep things rocking here just off of Sugar Hill.
Man, we're full of annual traditions, man. DJ Webb is going to be in the building. If it's the Jared Cook Classic, he's going to be in the building. Also had the chance to see Jared's father earlier today, and they've just done a fantastic job of helping to grow the game and advance the cause all at the same time. It's been a great thing that they've had going, and it gets better every year. Down to the stickers on the door this year. What a nice touch. No stone left unturned here by the North Gwinnett family during the Jared Cook Classic.
3:09 on the clock. Still an 11-point lead for Dacula, needing to get it in.
Good
but
defense
to the
by
wrong
Dacula.
jersey.
They're able to finish in transition. That's the difference in the game right there.
Going down hard there. If we look at our assistant basketball coach replay, you're going to see that lay-in there as it looked like a couple of North Gwinnett players collided. So able to walk off under his own power there is Tyler Goodson, the sophomore. That's the lead, 13 now for Dacula.
Well, this is a danger zone right here if you're North Gwinnett. 3 minutes left in the half. The last thing you want to do is go into half down 18, down 20. You want to keep this thing. Honestly, you'd like for it to be in single digits, but anything under 12 is a win considering some of the struggles you've had offensively. So keep an eye on that here in the last 3 minutes. They're down 13. You don't want to go in down any more than you're down right now, that's for sure.
Roland has it. And a traveling violation going to go against Chandler Johnston.
What Dacula has been able to do defensively has been really impressive in the last 3 possessions. So their guards have pressured them, and North Gwinnett's guards have picked the ball up in the coffin corners, and everybody else just denies. So I don't think that helps their cause right now.
Tell the good folks at home what that means in terms of the corners. That was a perfect picture you painted. Explain it to them.
Right, so what the coffin corners are is at half court, towards the sideline, and on the baseline towards the sideline. And the reason they call it the coffin corner is because when you pick the ball up in the coffin corner, there are 2 more defenders, which is the half court line, because you can't go back court, and the sideline, because you don't want to be out of bounds.
Tough situations for North Gwinnett, and Dacula continues to make things tough. And by the way, Mikhail Bethea says, hey, they're not the only guys that
was a great post-up move, wasn't it? And then they get the play out in transition, and we talked about the easy buckets. Look at the hustle play, though. They missed the first shot, but through 2 Dacula guys to 1 North Gwinnett guy there on the second chance, you're going to get that every time, and that's a great finish. And it's one of the reasons, honestly, that they're up 17. They've just outplayed North Gwinnett in the 50-50 hustle plays.
The 50-50 balls, they mean a lot. I kind of have to segue into the Miller Grove Reclaiming the Crown documentary with 50-50 ball being brought up. The initial 50-50 ball production there followed Miller Grove during their trip to regain their state title after having their 6 straight state title streak snapped. So be able to check that out on SUVtv entitled Miller Grove Reclaiming the Crown
Go watch
documentary.
that today. Even if you don't have you know, in an hour and 10 to just watch it solely. Put it on in the background as you're doing some work, typing up some reports, whatever it is that you don't want to do, and the motivation from that movie will help get you through it. That was a fantastic job there by 50/50 Ball Productions. Sharman White, the former coach of Miller Grove, who's now gone on to Georgia State. Tariq Gilbert, preseason freshman of the year, now up in the American Conference. Just some great people that were involved in the production of that, both player-wise and staffing-wise, and it was just a riveting, you know, for lack of a better term. I had the chance a couple days ago, Marcus. Honestly, I was late to the party, sat down a couple days ago and spent some time and just broke it down, and just a fantastic job. Administrators, teachers, staff, players, coaches, you name it, and they took the time to talk about what Miller Grove meant. Not only the players and the production on the floor, but what they mean to the school as a whole. It was awesome.
It's not easy to win state titles anywhere. Georgia, definitely a tough place to win it as the Peach State continues to increase its prominence when it comes to high school basketball. Jumpers off the mark, and the official stop play. We got a player shaking up there. That's number 12 for Dacula, Jalen Perry. And you hope Perry's all right. Dr. Triaga there checking on him as we approach the final minute here in the second quarter. I'm glad to see Perry's okay. You normally see them wait for a dead ball situation before they stop play like that, but both coaches fine with it. Perry appears to be okay, so we continue the contest. That jumper off the mark. Rebound snatched down by Tyler Goodson. Pass ahead by Smith. Smith shielded his body like a receiver going downfield. Shielded the defender off. Pass was on the money, but it was knocked out of bounds.
And that was a good tip to force the air quote incompletion there and not allow a score. Oh, nice special situations there by Matt Garner. Smith just not able to score, but they got what they wanted there. They got Smith on a little screen-to-screener action.
I can't say enough about Dacula's defense right now. Every time a North Gwinnett player moves, they're getting bumped. They're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Every shot they've taken within the last 5 minutes has been a jumper or outside of the three. Dacula's defense has just been outstanding in the second quarter.
Well, they whistled Bishop for the hand check here, but he's done a fantastic job offensively too. We talked about Bethea and him needing to step up big. Bishop has been just as productive and effective here early, whether it's at the rim. We talked about that three-pointer with the hand in his face earlier. And again, done it without forcing the issue and continuing to play the type of defense that the good doctor wants.
Smith, tough shot.
He's taken on that matchup against Ethan Smith and has really done well.
Bishop feeling good, feeling great. Wanted the foul there on that play. No foul called. Joseph gets it. And North Gwinnett will probably hold for the last shot here.
Well, that's tough. The way that they've struggled to control the basketball, I was about to say, you almost have to let it go, right?
They were just looking for the best one to come available, running the floor and converting. That's number 15, Reggie Horton, as Dr. Triaga and the Falcons have made themselves home up the street here in Sewanee.
Hey, what a run there for Dacula there to close out the second quarter. That was fantastic. They were literally everywhere scoring the basketball. Held North to a single basket there in the second quarter. Ethan Smith's post was the only thing they got. Dacula with a lot more than that. 25 unofficially, 25-2 for Dacula there in the second quarter to stretch that thing out. They were down going into the beginning of the second quarter, and not so much right now.
Well, that pretty much provides the best nutshell summary on what is facing North Gwinnett coming out of halftime. We'll take a step away and be back with more Jarrett Cook Classic here on SUVtv.
The 2016 Jarrett Cook Tip-Off Classic on SUVtv. Sponsored by CBA Sports, your sports construction specialist. Deed Chain. Great acts are made up of small deeds. Shot Tracker. Unleash your game, automatic real-time stats for every level of play. And Gatorade, the thirst quencher.
You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to get out of your neighborhood. You're not supposed to believe you can do it. Yeah, you were told you were going to be one of the greats. But they told so many others the same thing. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to pass the ball so much. Or play like a giant. No matter what. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to play 40 minutes and make up 40 feet and make a defensive play. A defining moment of your career. You're not even supposed to be here. And yet, here you are.
Usain, you're gonna be late!
No worries, Mama!
Hey, wait! You forgot your lunch! Oh, that boy.
Not gonna be late. 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 Whoa! Pardon. Oh, excuse me.
Yo.
Sorry about that.
Hey, boy. What's the matter with you?
Not gonna be late. Not gonna be late. Not gonna be late. Not gonna be late. Not gonna be late.
Huh?
Bye. Bye-bye.
Woohoo! The boy score fire. 5 laps, 10 wing sprints. Wow.
Yes! Right on time. No worries.
Okay, lunchtime. Everyone outside.
Oh man, my lunch.
You're saying, right? You know, I don't think I'm gonna eat all of this. You want it? Yeah. Okay, then. It's yours. If you can beat him in a race.
Race? Him?
Come on, just from here to that tree.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Yes! I just beat him! I win! I win!
Okay. Okay. Here's your lunch track star. You know you're good, but if you want to be great, you're gonna have to take this more seriously.
Here comes the teenage sensation Usain Bolt speeding down the stretch. Oh my God, look at this kid!
Usain Bolt is on his way. The other men are trying to follow as best they can. Nobody.
This youngster is absolutely incredible. Towards the finish line.
What's the matter, you saying?
What if I don't win?
What if you don't win? Since when did you become so serious, boy?
Don't make me go there, Mama, please.
Look at yourself, you saying. You're worried about the big race. Worried about the big crowd out there. So many worries on your mind that you forgot which shoe goes on which foot. Maybe you forgot who you are too. I mean, the boy I know has no worries. Because all worries ever do is weigh you down. You saying you have to remember, you can always go faster when you keep it light. You see?
Okay. No worries, Mama.
Welcome back to the Jared Cook Classic. We're ready for the second half. The question is, will North Gwinnett be ready? Ethan Smith answers that with an emphatic yes there on the lay-in. Marcus Burnett joins by Jasmine Jenkins. Jasmine, so let's say I'm a viewer. I just turned on the webcast. I didn't see the first half. What would be the best synopsis you would give me as to why we sit at a 23-42 ball game?
Well, I just would say Dacula's defense was stifling to North Gwinnett in the first half. I mean, they were turning the ball over, taking ill-willed shots. But I really believe that this first 3 or 4 minutes in the third quarter could really be a telltale of the rest of the game. And the reason I say that is because nice move there by Brandon Mayfield. And the reason I say that is because it starts in the first and third quarter. If you don't set the tone and impose your will right away, then that could be a long, long half for you.
I tell you what, I don't know what Matt Garner said at halftime, but I think it's taking root here with this team. You saw that layup by Smith, and you saw Brandon Matthew with a nice little footwork. You know, I spent a couple summer with Akeem, a couple weeks in the summer with Akeem Olajuwon type footwork there. He was able to finish it. Then he had something to say for the Norse Nuts. Their student section over there as he goes after that three-point play the hard way. Hey, Matthew, do you, Chief? He's come out to a pretty good start as North Gwinnett has pulled to within 15. We'll have a substitution coming in. Shane Buckingham for Dacula.
I tell you, Marcus, North Gwinnett has came out and scored 3 back-to-back baskets. I wonder what the coach had to say at halftime.
I'd say if we were on air, we probably would have had the bleep button ready for a little portion of it, you know. Matt Gardner, good coach, good mixture of composure, but knows when to fire his team up. And I think they responded to some of the halftime thoughts there. 15-point contest.
Tough move. Doesn't get it there.
See if North Gwinnett.
I'm sorry, Marcus. I really believe that if North Gwinnett is able to score more in transition, this game will be, you know, turn out in their favor, because when they get into half court, Dacula just stifles them.
A bit of high-low action. Mikey Joseph with the assist, the lay-in by Maffey. Maffey 6 points here in the second half. Traveling violation, going to go against Hunter. And Dr. Triaga says, I've seen enough. I'm going to go ahead and call the timeout. We'll keep it right here.
Dacula has kind of came out flat here in the second half. I wonder if it was because they got complacent with their lead going in. You can't play basketball like that. It's not over till the fat lady sings, as they say.
She was warming up. Gwinnett said, hey, tell her to go up to the hospitality room, see what we got to eat up there. She's not going to get any work, not anytime soon. And like you mentioned, I think it was a little bit of Dacula, you know, possibly resting on their laurels. Not thinking the game was over, but with the way that they've defended up to this point, there's no way North Gwinnett has been able to string together some of the buckets we've seen them string together here over the past few minutes. So, you know, Dr. Triaga, a timely timeout, and back to Dacula basketball, it appears, as you see the steal and the foul that will send Hunter to the free throw line. The sportsmanship shown there is rolling. Make sure he couldn't finish there.
Yeah, and just going back to what Brandon Clay said when he was with us, if Hunter would have just taken the layup, he would have had an and one. Instead, he slowed down to get his footing to take a dunk. And, you know, it's not about how you get the 2 points. It's about getting the 2 points itself.
Gather up and get the dunk. Enough time for Rowland to come and get that foul. Opportunity at the free throw line. Makes it 29-44.
That's it!
And get it into Maffey. Maffey wheeling and dealing. Like I said, I like the big fella. I was asking him questions at Gwinnett County Media Day, and the big fella was having a hard time just sitting behind the table. He was just ready to play. And now we're seeing some of that being unleashed as Maffey is approaching double figures in the second half here already, and we're not even at the halfway mark here in the third quarter.
Man, I'm telling you, he may be the answer for North Gwinnett right now. They've not been able to stop him since the half started. As he gets his steal right there. What? How many big guys do you see getting a steal there in the open court?
Hey, not too many. Young Maffey is out here by any means necessary. He's looking to help them get this W. You give him the low-hanging fruit inside, he's scoring that. You seeing the big fella jump passing lanes. Eat, Maffey. I'm not mad at you, bro. 12-point game. I thought he was going to catch and shoot the three. Coach Gardner would have been happy with that. Give me that. That one smacked out of there by Buckingham. Here comes Dacula the other way. Hesitation. Good read. Gets it to Bate. Bate left it short. We're going to have a trip to the free throw line here for Shane Buckingham. Just over 5 minutes remaining here on the third quarter clock. Like the adjustments that North Gwinnett has been able to make. And, you know, we talked about Gwinnett County and just the coaching that you're going to face, you know, game in and game out. It's got a lot of talent, like you mentioned, but there are even teams where on paper you might not think they're as formidable of a challenge as they prove to be, and a lot of that has to do with the coaching that you're going to find across the county.
I agree.
That's his 4th personal foul. Team 4.
As number 2 Hunter comes out of the game with 4 fouls with almost about 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. That's not a good sign for Dacula.
It is not. We'll see how Dayan North Gwinnett responds. That turnover not going to help the cause. Into Buckingham. Moves Joseph out of the way. North Gwinnett able to bother him enough to make him miss that shot, but it'll stick with Dacula. Even Maffey there, you saw for a second, you saw him stay in front of Mikael Bethea until some help could come. Help deny him a score there, and then Dacula comes back, turns the ball over.
Confidence is a funny thing.
Hey, it
when
is.
you get 3 or 4 buckets to go and within 2 minutes, it's amazing what you can accomplish after that.
Maffey, he's about a bucket away from getting the glow. Official calls a foul. I think we all just, Dr. Russell Triaga can't believe the call. And to be honest, I thought it was just, just let him play there. Coach Triaga said he got his bunny hop on. Didn't like the call.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Fast break there. The assist by Goodson, the lay-in by young Reggie Horton.
One thing I've noticed about North Gwinnett is that their transition defense is kind of poor in terms of just numbers getting back. Dacula has missed layups on the first try, and then the following player has gotten the 2 points and a layup.
Offensive foul. Agree with you. You look at some of that size that we talked about with North Gwinnett can be in the plus column in certain scenarios, but when you talk about overall speed, safe to say Dacula has the advantage there, and they've exploited it for most of this game. Under 4 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter, 16-point contest, and now my question is for North Gwinnett, I think you're still going to see contributions from Maffey, but have you cooled down that initial run, or are you going to be able to keep it going if you're North Gwinnett, as Dacula has kind of got back to a level set? You see that floater up and in for Goodson.
Work on it, JB. Stay down. Stay down.
Maffey gets it to Smith. Now wants it back.
Down, JB.
Ball for the travel.
And although that was a travel, I think that was the right play. A lot of post players kind of panic when they're doubled on the block. However, Maffey made the right play, just couldn't keep his feet still.
Step up, Reggie.
Got to turn it over. 18-point game.
And another steal by Maffey.
They're off to the races. Here's Smith. Maffey trailing to play. Gets the lay-in.
Somebody get that man some Gatorade so he can stay in the game. He is playing.
He's playing well, but he was trying to get up off the floor and get back. Mikael Bethea was in go mode as he gets the and one. But just going to give North Gwinnett credit for, even though they haven't closed the gap like they would like to, they've done a good job, relatively speaking, of keeping Bethea quiet here in the 3rd quarter. But he's not forcing things, letting the game come to him. Saw a spot and attacked it there. Has a chance to get the 3-point play the hard way here with the free throw.
One thing North Gwinnett is going to have to focus on is not only scoring, but getting stops on the defensive end. They were down, I think. How many points were they down, Marcus?
I believe 21.
About 21 points at the half. So if you're scoring, that's fine. But if you allow Dacula to score, then you're still down 21 points.
Plug in a few holes in the boat, and then more coming up as you're plugging those. It's been kind of descriptive of the situation here over the past few minutes for North Gwinnett. See if they can get a stop here. Bishop lost the handle. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Number 44, Jaden Brown, creating some space in there, misses the first, but sticks with it.
Better get up out of that paint.
Yeah.
It's coming at you.
Doesn't mind clearing space, and when you look at a very good stable of guards for Coach Triaga. But then you've got Buckingham and Jaden Brown that are able to come in and sort of be enforcers inside. And throw their bodies around and create havoc. We talked about electrolytes. Gatorade is a sponsor here for the Jared Cook Classic. And you might want to get Maffey a cup. Big fella with the hands over the head as he heads to the free throw line.
Yes, indeed.
He's worked hard over the past few minutes. You can understand why he might want a breather.
Quench your thirst.
We'll probably have a sub for the shooter here if he makes this both of these free throws, or if he makes his second free throw.
Good job, big dog.
Coming in for Dacula, number 23, Jaden Bost. As Jaden Brown has a seat, the sophomore with a good cluster of minutes there. As he was subbed in to kind of cool Maffey down a little bit. Maffey still contributed, but not at the same clip as he did to start the half. Rowland looked like he was looking to throw that one ahead. Lost sight of it and loses out of bounds. Maffey will get a breather for North Gwinnett. In will be number 22, Ryan Smith. But they pass intended for Bishop. That goes out of play. Like the atmosphere here will be a little bit more intense. I think if North Gwinnett can close this gap, but I'm already seeing the looming crowd and the atmosphere we'll have for this nightcap with Gainesville and Langston Hughes. Gainesville has a good contingent here on site. I'm seeing some shades of green sprinkled throughout the crowd, but I think we're going to have a very good nightcap here on SUVtv. Timeout on the floor. North Gwinnett still fighting an uphill battle. We'll be back with more Jared Cook Classic.
I got a high ankle sprain going for a rebound.
Injuries are part of playing.
I got hit catching a pass and broke my collarbone.
So it's good to know that the sports medicine doctors, therapists, and athletic trainers at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta are experts at treating young athletes. If your child suffers any kind of sports-related injury,
I got hit and dislocated my shoulder.
bring him to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Back out of the timeout. Just over a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Marcus Burnett joined by Jasmine Jenkins here for North Gwinnett versus Dacula. North Gwinnett trying to cut this deficit in half as soon as possible. That will help their mission as Tyler Goodson knocks down a triple from the corner. Actually looks like they'll rule that one a two. Here's Goodson. Pass broken up. So Goodson's pass broken up by another Goodson in Tyler. Number 4, Deontay Brown checking in for Dacula. Goodson not understanding the call. Look like he caught Bethea across the back of the head with a forearm. Not intentionally, but just, you know.
But he didn't foul.
Goodson said, man, what do you mean? What?
What foul?
Right.
What foul, ref?
I didn't hit him with both hands.
Come on, ref.
There's Bishop trying to go to work. All saved. 2 straight save attempts there. They got it initially, but that one's thrown out of bounds. So Ethan Smith will throw it in for North Gwinnett.
Gary, take the ball. Hey, you can shoot it right there, D.O.
So deficit just under 20.
Come in, Hand up, hand up.
Rolling. Tough shot and one. A good move to finish there by Cameron Rowland. Sophomore. Take a look at our assistant basketball coach replay. You'll see going between the legs, loses it momentarily, but is able to hang in the air, take the contact, and use the nice kick off the window They pull to within 16. But they splitting through the defense. Now the spin move drops it off. We call that a dime. We call that a dime where I'm from, Jasmine. I don't know what they call it.
Jumping dimes.
As that will make it 39-57. And Dacula very lucky that North Gwinnett isn't shooting 3 free throws there. Smith lobbies for the next call. That will do it for the third quarter. 39-57, Dacula leads. We'll be back.
Tip-Off Classic on SUVtv. Sponsored by CBA Sports, your sports construction specialist. Deed Chain. Great acts are made up of small deeds. Shot Tracker. Unleash your game. Automatic real-time stats for every level of play. And Gatorade, the thirst quencher.
Into the fourth quarter. We'll see if they can start the fourth like they started the third. Maffey with a big part. Rumbling, stumbling, bumbling inside, turning the trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, this is North Gwinnett's last stand for a victory right here. They need to start pressing. They need to get some steals, get some easy buckets in transition. They have a lot to make up for.
North Gwinnett not going to lie down. Brandon Maffey has shown he's not going. So Dacula will have to continue the level of defense that they've played for the overwhelming majority of this game. And as typical with any Dr. Russell Triaga coach team, I'm sure they have no problem with that. Jump ball.
As Brandon Maffey misses those 2 free throws, I think one stat that gets lost is just free throw percentage in general. Not only has Dacula shot more free throws, but they also have a higher percentage.
Difference maker. Bishop misses that one. Jumper along the baseline, won't go, ball tipped around. Maffey comes up with it, wanted a foul. Uncalled, but rolling. Picks up his third personal foul. So we'll have a timeout taken. We'll just keep it right here.
Great adjustment by the doctor, head coach for Dacula. He sees Brandon Maffey getting off early, so he called a timeout right away. He doesn't want him to have another 3 to 4 layups like he did at the start of the third quarter. So that's great coaching right there.
Yeah, we've seen good coaching moves and we've seen counters. Matt Garner not only lighting a fire up under his team, but also making some tactical adjustments that work. But Triaga says no problem. No problem. He responds back, and now Dacula in control of this one. Like you mentioned, the last stand type of point in the game for North Gwinnett. 7 minutes and 14 seconds. It's enough time in a basketball game, but you still got to put together some impressive runs in order to be able to come back here, especially when you've got a team like Dacula, as disciplined and as well coached as they are. They're not going to self-destruct.
I agree.
Goodson trying to put the pressure on Bishop. Bishop, listen to Bethea. Bethea steps out of bounds there after the ball slipped through his hands.
Good job, Dio.
Quick hands there by Deontay Brown.
Now, Cameron Rowland has to realize that there were 3 people guarding him. So, as a guard, you have to know and see the floor. You have to have court vision to see, okay, 3 people are guarding me, so somebody has to be open.
That sort of tunnel vision is what Dacula will prey on. We've seen them do it at various points throughout this game. As Bethea gets that one between 2 defenders, has it poked away. It's the rebound there. Joseph got a piece of it. Ball poked away from behind by Bishop. Get that out of here, says Joseph, but they will kick it out. They had a 2-pointer denied. They go for the 3, no good. And protecting the rebound, there is Rowland.
North Gwinnett can't afford to have those kind of defensive possessions.
Offensive foul going to go against Joseph. So the lead sits at 18 here for Dacula. Jaden Brown going from block to block. He wants it inside. They drop it off to the big fella. He worked hard and they reward him.
Nice.
Going to go out on the limb and say Coach Triaga likes the execution there on that play.
As a coach, you have to appreciate your team, everybody getting a touch, your team moving the ball around, and then you're getting a high percentage shot.
As a guard yourself, I know you understand the importance of when you've got your post player working, making sure that they stay fed and they're rewarded for that work.
I agree. I mean, because post players are so hard to come by, post players that are physical and want to get the ball inside. So every time you get a chance, you have to reward them.
Timeout on the floor. 5:28 left in this one. Dacula in the lead. We'll be back with more Jared Cook Classic.
Every day is another beginning. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream. Gonna make my move, gonna live my dream.
You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to get out of your neighborhood. You're not supposed to believe you can do it. Yeah, you were told you were going to be one of the greats. They told so many others the same thing. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to pass the ball so much. Or play like a giant.
DJ Webb playing some old school cuts in the background.
As my uncle would say at the cookout, what y'all youngins know about that?
Hey, the old school. I really think I'm a 70s baby at heart. Born in '83, but I just like the old school music. Like for me, I don't care what anybody says. I feel like they had the most fun back in the Soul Train days. Have you ever watched some of those Soul Train videos? I don't care what anybody says. We get geeked these days. We got our music. They look like they were having a blast at Soul Train back then.
I agree.
5 minutes, 8 seconds remaining here.
One thing that I love so much about sitting near the benches is that you actually get to see the coaches interact with the players. And the reason why I mention that is because Coach Triaga was getting on his team, even though they're up 22 points right now. It's just he could be content with his lead, but he's not. He's pushing his players to get better, to stay disciplined in order to finish the game.
Always looking at the chessboard of coaching, not only as it relates to that season, but also just the player and the team development as they go on to play at next levels. Is